you can keep more of your hard-earned money, spend more time where you want, and make sure that your lovely governments can't interfere with those decisions. So just before we get into it, got to do the old disclaimer. This is not tax advice, blah, 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 all the usual. The lawyers would kill me if I didn't put this slide up. So moving on a little bit further. So who is Expat Money and how has it come about? So our founder, his name is Mikkel Thorup. Some of you might have heard of Mikkel or listened to his podcast, The Expat Money Show. He's been traveling since he was 17, all over the world for the last 26 years, and now finds himself based in Panama for the last 6 or 7 years with a lovely wife and 4 young children. So he gets over 3 million listeners on the podcast every year, has authored a number of books, and has lived the life, okay? So, moving on from Mikkel, who am I? What's my story, and how have I ended up with working with Expat Money? So as you'll see on screen, and you'll probably tell by my accent, I'm a born and bred Londoner. My parents are Irish, so I'm blessed to have an Irish and a UK passport. Ironically, I had to go to the Middle East to get my first taste of freedom in 2007, which I bet most of you probably wouldn't associate freedom with the Middle East. But believe it or not, in Dubai and places out in the Gulf, you're just generally left alone to do your thing, live by our rules, and we'll leave you alone. Absolutely love Dubai. All my children, my 4 children, were born there, but for a number of reasons, largely to do with family, we moved closer to home. When I got back to Ireland, I then found out more about the offshore world. I enrolled in the Portugal non-habitual resident scheme just before they shut the door, with a view to moving to Portugal. But again, through some personal issues that we had at home due to some ill relatives, we ended up not up in sticks and moving to Portugal. So, where do I find myself right now? I'm a resident of Killarney, down in County Kerry, as many of you will know here. And if I was talking to JP a moment ago, this is his first time in Ireland, so if you do have an opportunity to visit the west coast of Ireland whilst you're here, I would highly recommend it. So Ireland is home for now. My children absolutely love it, I love it, but as somebody who's lived the expat life and lived through COVID in Ireland, which many of you in here will have been through, it's not something that I'm willing and able to do again. So that then led me to Expat Money. And how did I get there? Well, like many of you in here, I would have been locked down and had a lot of time on my hands, did a lot of research. Having been an expat, I was aware of the offshore world, but realized that whilst I had Europe covered through passports, I didn't have any residency options or passports outside of Europe, because after living through lockdown, I was of the view, and my wife agreed, that we were never going to go through that again. So 2020, as I said there, our outlook on life changed. I'd heard all about this crypto thing, and it was like, well, what is crypto? You know, I dismissed Bitcoin like probably everybody else in here as a scam years and years before, but as usual, I got Bitcoin at the price I deserved. So I went down the rabbit hole at the end of 2020, and by 2021, I was completely and utterly orange-pilled. Did the usual thing, bought a load of shit coins, had no idea why I was buying them, to be honest, apart from trying to make a bit of money. They made no sense to me. The more I researched, the more I looked into it, it didn't take long for the penny to drop, and then I was down the rabbit hole, never to return from again. So, as I mentioned, there are, and as JP mentioned, there is a company, a well-known company, who has a really good saying that I wish I came up with first: go where you're treated best, yeah? So I looked online, I found some really good content by various different people, but the message didn't resonate with me. Yes, I was up for living the expat lifestyle, but I didn't find certain views were being aired in the way or as honestly as, you know, I felt they should have been. I was listening to the Bitcoin Standard podcast religiously, and then I had the good fortune to listen to the episode where Mikkel spoke. And straight away, Mikkel was very open, honest, blunt, and direct about his views, which resonated perfectly with mine. So I reached out to Expat Money in 2022. I attended their first online summit, basically an online conference focused around Latin America. And after that, I was completely sold. So since 2022, I've been working with Expat Money as a client. Now, as I mentioned on the previous slide, what is my normie job? Well, I'm a quantity surveyor, okay? So anyone in construction will know the QS is the money man. And now what I do is I work as an expert witness in construction disputes. Outwardly, looking in, I'm reasonably successful at that. I don't need to look for work. I have appointments coming to me. I've been cross-examined multiple times in high-value cases, but I'm working within the legal sector. And whilst I love construction and I love building things, the legal sector, as most of you will probably know, is the most conservative sector there is. They make the laws, they implement them, and then they enforce these stupid laws. Who is their biggest client? It's the government of the respective country within which they work. So they will never put their head above the parapet and call out the bullshit for what it is. So that, as my career has got better in that field, my dissatisfaction with what I'm doing has also followed suit. So that led me to have the idea of bringing expat money to Europe, because our client base is probably 90% North American. We work primarily out of Panama, but we work all over Latin America. We also work within Europe and other jurisdictions, but our speciality and our focus is principally Latin America and the Caribbean. So with 4 children between 9 and 14, and a wife who's pretty happy at home, I'm not actually going anywhere anytime soon. But what I've been doing over the last 4 years with Expat Money is planting various flags with a view to having that mobility. And as someone who's lived in 3.5 countries, because I don't really count Portugal as somewhere that I fully lived in, I've realized, for me anyway, that there's no one perfect place. So it's all about having options, yeah? Because if shit is the fan again, I'm getting out of Dodge, I'm not going through it again, and I want to have that freedom. Now, there is no perfect place, but as I've got a couple of options in different jurisdictions outside of Europe, I feel much more comfortable and more equipped to deal with it if it happens again. So I am going to take you through our 4-in-1 plan, okay? Very briefly, there's going to be a lot of slides I'm going to whiz through because I don't have the time to get into the detail. I'm outside on the stand if you want to talk about anything that's piqued your interest afterwards that I haven't covered in sufficient detail for you. But our 4+1 plan is immigration, international investment, wealth protection, legal, tax mitigation, +1, which is lifestyle, because that's why we do these things, yeah? We put in all the work, we hodl, because we want the lifestyle that we want and desire, yeah? So, we operate a number of different tours, various jurisdictions around Latin America, but when you're thinking about your plan B, you've got to ask yourself, you've got to start at the end and work backwards. What is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to be? What do you want? Is it climate? Is it tax? Because it's not all about money, you know? Money's a means to an end, but like money, I know it sounds corny, but ultimately it won't make you happy, but it will help you get happier, that's for sure. So all of these items that I have listed on here, these are the types of things you need to be thinking about. You know, we've got divide and conquer throughout the West, at each other's throats. Meanwhile, they're rolling out digital IDs and the normies haven't a clue what's coming, you know? What tells me about this room and what I love about Bitcoin is when I go into a room full of Bitcoiners, I know immediately most of you are on the level, you know? We think differently to the herd. And that's what we do at Expat Money. So the 4-in-1 strategy, just going to start with immigration, okay? Obviously, Bitcoin is amazing, but at the end of the day, we've got to live somewhere, yeah? And what we need is we need an entitlement to go to different jurisdictions, okay? So the lowest threshold there is your residency programs, okay? Latin America and other jurisdictions around the world, I'm sure you'll be very familiar with Paraguay, Panama, Turkey, Italy has options. There's so many. Yeah, the list is endless, okay? But what you've got to think about is what will give you the entitlement to enter a country, because we all know what happened during COVID, and we all know what happened to Australians in COVID. There was even a farcical point at time, I think JP will probably confirm, that Australians weren't even able to get back into their own country at one stage during COVID, do you know? Now, the first step, like I said, is residencies, okay? So there's a number of investment pathways that will typically start off on a temporary residency for a period of time, 1, 2 years, 4 years in certain instances, such as Brazil, which you can convert to a permanent residency. Most of the jurisdictions that we work in Latin America have a pathway then to citizenship, okay? So that's the point at which you get your passport, you're entitled to vote, you can say that you're a citizen of whatever the country is in. In practical terms, most people probably don't always want that passport, but they want the entitlement to enter and come and go from a country in the same way that a citizen does. That's where the residency programs come in. Okay, international investments. Now, why do I mention this? I mention this because typically, and not always, but typically, this is the pathway through to your residency, okay? So there's a photo on screen there with Mikel in Brazil. And Fortaleza, for anyone who doesn't know, is the fourth largest city in Brazil, and it's in the northeast of Brazil in a state called Ceará, okay? And there's a residency threshold or investment threshold there of the equivalent of $130,000, which will put you on the pathway to permanent residency and citizenship if you want that. Okay, so we work with 1 or 2 trusted partners in different jurisdictions, including Panama, Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and we only work with partners that we've road tested ourselves, yeah? So we have invested with them before we roll these things out to the public and our client base, because a reputation, as you'll all know, will take years to build and just seconds to lose. Okay, now what does an international investment do? Now, Bitcoin, again, amazing, the best form of property there is, but it doesn't actually put a roof over your head. So what we do with clients is we work with them, typically find a jurisdiction that they want to be in. We look for a cash flowing property that you can use as a second home or a full-time home or a holiday home, okay? And when it's not being used, it's generating an income, okay? So that's helping offset inflation, that's putting some money in your pocket and keep helping you with upkeep. Wealth protection. Well, we're all here at Bitcoin conference, so we all know a bit about wealth protection, definitely more than the average guy on the street. Okay, now before we get into preservation of wealth and purchasing power, we look at the different potential structures you can put in place to protect assets, to protect houses, protect whatever it might be. So again, we'll work with you. This might not be a factor for a lot of people, but it's something that we will always discuss and find out more about. Bitcoin, I'm preaching to the choir here on most of these points, but what some people might not know is that a lot of these jurisdictions are Bitcoin friendly. So whilst Panama is not the same as El Salvador in terms of day-to-day Bitcoin transactions, you can pay for your properties there in Bitcoin, okay? We work with one of our partners there called Veritas Villages. You may be familiar with Patrick Hebert and the business there. They have got some amazing developments going on where they are Bitcoin mining with solar energy. The mining is paying for your upkeep, your HOA fees, your electricity, your water, and ultimately at some point it's going to actually be generating you an income. So you've paid for your property, it's running for free, and at some point it's repaying itself. And if you don't want to use fiat, bog roll, that's toilet paper in Cockney, as a means of payment, you can use your Bitcoin direct. And if you haven't KYC'd it, you've got all these different options there that, you know, you can protect privacy, okay? Now, obviously, Bitcoin, a lot of people in here, I expect, are not 100% into Bitcoin. I am myself. But obviously, Gold Bugs and ourselves and people into precious metal, we're all on the same team. So people like to diversify. We can help you buy gold and store it safely through Bitcoin. But we obviously know that moving gold and precious metals around is problematic. So legal tax migration, I emphasize the legal because there's a few interesting conversations I've had over the last day or two and on potential ideas that we probably as a business would not recommend. But, you know, you don't need to do anything dodgy, yeah? There's loads of options out there that you can do that will legally reduce your taxes and in many instances reduce them down to zero. Okay, so Panama and Paraguay, for example, they are territorial tax systems, okay? And for any of you who don't know what that means is that you can earn your money outside of those countries, and if it's set up in the right way, it can be tax-free, and you can bring that money into Paraguay or Panama, and you are not liable for any tax on that income. It's completely legitimate, above board, nothing dodgy. So with a bit of careful planning and structuring things in the right way, you can massively mitigate your tax exposure. Now, I'm not sure there is a place on the earth that has every single one of those in totality, but there are many that have a lot of mixtures of that and the vast majority of them. Okay, so I talked about the 4+1 scheme that we work through with clients, okay? And what is the one? It's lifestyle, okay? And as I said at the outset, it's all about achieving your goals in life. So when picking a country, what is the number one, number two, number three factor in your decision making? For many people, particularly guys living in Ireland, I imagine weather is going to be a factor for consideration. I know it is for me, having lived in Dubai for 9 years. I love Ireland, but by God, I did not know it could rain so much in the country. I swear to God. But listen, you know, weather isn't everything, money isn't everything. Time zones, that was a big factor for Mikkel in moving. And in fact, what myself and Mikkel share in common was we were living in Dubai at the same time, or he was in Abu Dhabi just down the road. We didn't know each other back then, but what we both were concerned about was the tensions that were building between Iran and Israel. Now, I left in 2016, Mikkel left in 2019. I was 9 years early, but I'd rather be 9 years early than a day too late. Now, I don't want to overplay the situation there. I have family there, and it's not as bad as things are being made out. But at the same time, as a father of 4 young kids, I just don't need that grief at my stage of life, you know? So these are all factors to consider. So you've got to really think hard about what your end goal is and what do you want. I mean, the attraction for Latin America for a lot of people, and I'm speaking for Mikkel now, but Panama was very attractive for him because it's energy, it's water independent, it's food independent. It's in the right time zone for our client base there. But that's where I come in with Expat Money in Europe. I want to bring the message and the service that we offer to everybody in here. Okay, so I've ran through that on a whistle-stop tour. How do you put it together? You can do it yourself. It's like anything, the information is all out there online. There's no big secrets or anything like that, but good luck doing it on your own. I did that with Portugal. I made a few mistakes. Was it pound wise, penny wise, pound foolish, basically, and it cost me a lot of money. Second option is you can work with us. We have various different tiered entry points. Got some more details outside. So we've got literally the economy class one, which is you just sign up for our newsletter. You will get loads of information. We then have a business class level from $2,000 per year. We then move up to first class, which is group consulting limited to 10 to 12 families. And then we got your private concierge service for the whales out there. So I suppose the question you've got to ask yourself is, what is it worth to you, you know? A big theme of yesterday's discussions was time. You know, it's the most precious commodity we have. So you put an hourly rate to the time that you spend in doing these things, whatever the field might be, and just ask yourself, is it worth all of that time that you put into these things? So that's me. I'm outside. You've got my details there. If you want to come talk a little bit more, come find me. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time, everybody.